Hi, my name is Khleif, and I'm the host of the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. And every week I interview multifamily rock stars, and we talk about how they've built incredible wealth for themselves and their families through multifamily properties. So hit the like and subscribe buttons to get notified every Monday when a new episode comes out. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Multifamily Rockstar. So as you guys know, this is where we interview people that are just flat out crushing it in this business. And we show you the inside scoop as to how multifamily investors are creating massive success in their businesses and, of course, in their lives. And as always, I've got my co-host who's director of our massive action team for the Warrior Group, Mark Nagy.
Hey, Rod. Always good to hang out with you, you know.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. Stop it. Yeah. So we've got an awesome guest today, awesome warrior today. Her name's Hilary Graves, and she is the founder and managing partner of Bright Sound Investments. And she's out of York, Pennsylvania, and she is killing it. She's already in, I think 460 doors as a limited partner and general partner. She's got other things coming down the pike, and she's only been in the program since April of last year as well. So let's have some fun, Hilary. Great to have you here.
Let's do it.
All right.
So glad to be here. It's an honor because I know everyone says this to you. I know they do, but I listened to your podcast like during my formative real estate years, and it really was instrumental, to use a music pun, because it was at a time where I was like, I don't think I can do something like that. And then there I see somebody who's just like me, just a regular Joe crushing it. And I thought, okay, that's all I need. I can do it. So
good for you. Oh, well, thank you. It's kind of a full circle thing, isn't it? Kind of to have you on. Yeah, I do hear that a lot, which is cool, and it's rewarding for me. I don't know if you knew this. If our students now, we're trying to do a count. It just takes forever to get a hold of people, but we're somewhere between 170 and 180,000 units, which over 5 years that I've been teaching, I'm super freaking proud of. So, but anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about you. Why don't you give us your background and, why real estate, why you got going in real estate, and just, kind of bring us to the current, to what did you do before, or what are you doing now in addition, so on and so forth?
Sure. So as you said, I'm from York, Pennsylvania, South Central PA. And I guess I took the traditional path into real estate by getting my music education degree and teaching for 20 years in the public schools before buying our first property. Wow. But actually, my husband and I are both teachers, and we had this idea planted from a neighbor of ours who is an investor. And it wasn't until March of 2020, everybody knows what happened then. Teachers and students were sent home, and we found ourselves with time that we didn't usually have at that time of the year, especially. And that's when we started listening to podcasts and reading books and just getting those nuts and bolts of what does it mean to be a real estate investor. And it wasn't too long before, just through that education process, and like I said, hearing people's stories, like regular people were doing this, teachers were doing this, that we thought, oh my gosh, I think we can do it. So we actually started with a 5-unit. We were looking for a duplex, but we found a 5-unit, and it worked out awesome. I mean, we ended up doing, the Burr method. Where you buy, you renovate, you raise the rents, and then refinance. When we refinanced, we got all of our capital back, and we were like, this works. Okay. I mean, we literally had no money into the deal, and we had this beautiful cash flowing property, and we still have it. Maybe we'll hold it forever. But that kind of gave us the bug. We then bought another one after that. And then I got sidelined with cancer for a little bit. And it was actually during that time that I was listening to I was part of one of your boot camps, a virtual boot camp. And it turned out it was great that you were having a virtual boot camp at that time. I don't know if you still do them all virtual or any virtual.
No, we've got a live one coming up in September in person. It's the only one I do a year now because they kill me because it's me on stage for 3 days. But we do virtual ones in between there, though. Yeah.
You do? Okay. Well, I was so glad that you did. I know you were talking for like 18 hours or something that weekend. It was crazy.
Right.
I don't know how you do that, but It was perfect for me because here I was at home, recuperating and in the middle of treatment and everything, and wouldn't have been able to go anywhere, but was certainly able to sit in my bedroom and watch the computer. And after the boot camp was when I kind of had to talk my husband into it a little bit, but I said, we're going bigger. Let's do it. So
I have some questions. If you're finished, keep going. If you're not, please continue. If I jump in too soon here.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
All right. Well, are you in remission now?
I am.
Oh, thank God.
Good.
I just went through that with my daughter. Okay. And she spent 8 months in Moffitt Cancer Center, inpatient. She had 6 surgeries. And she just finally had some cosmetic stuff done because she had she needed it on her stomach. And it was one of the toughest things we've ever been through. And so I can't imagine. I literally can't imagine. So thank God you're okay. Question I have for you, Billy, are you really the lead on this and doing most of it, and he's supporting you, or is he actively involved?
Yeah, I would say I'm more of the lead on it. With our smaller multis, smaller just meaning five units less. He actually loves swinging the hammer. He's one of those. Me too. So I respect that. Okay. Yeah, you get that. So he gets excited about if we were to find a property in York and he could actually work on it with his hands. That's what he really loves to do. And he's a phys ed teacher and a health teacher. So he's very physical and, he was not interested at all at looking at a spreadsheet. And he doesn't love, he's not the most outgoing, like talk to people and raise capital either. So he said, you know what, you do your thing. And he certainly supports me. I know that I have his support.
That was my next question. How important is that support?
It's huge. Yeah, right. I wouldn't be able to do it. And we are a unit. We talk things over before we do anything, make any big decisions. Right. And if he's not on board, I'm not going to do it. It needs to be a team effort, and the team doesn't have to both be doing the same thing, but they have to be on board with what.
And they have to support it. And this comes up a lot, and we actually discuss it in my boot camps because, if you don't have that support at home yet, you got to work on building it. And we talk about strategies around that. And I pull the audience in. I do that almost every event because that's just such an important component of that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I like to tell people when you had your Denver, I think it was a boot camp.
Live boot camp.
So I was there.
Oh, you were? Was that the one my mom was at?
Was your mom at that one?
But they brought my mom to one, and I was behind the curtain crying like a little girl because she's the reason I got into real estate. It was really hard for me to come on stage that day. But yeah.
I don't know that she was there. Tiffy was there, but I'm not sure if your mom was. But my husband wanted to come along just to be there, and he didn't sit with me in the session. He came along. We did some Denver things. So that's where we fell in love. We fell in love in Colorado. So we loved this. We loved Denver. And he watched a Rockies game. He went hiking, and then we would meet together at night. So it was like, that's our way of,
That's cool.
And that was our way of being together and doing our own thing and just kind of celebrating each other. Like, you do you, I'm gonna do me. We're both gonna be happy. So that's kind of how we function.
So bring us into some of these deals. I know you started with the 5 unit. Now you've done some bigger syndications. What do you like about, because I get this question a lot, like syndication, what does that mean? What are the implications? What do you like about the syndication model versus maybe even the smaller multifamily or maybe even single family? What drew you into that?
Yeah. Well, I will say I like them both. I've never done single family, but I like the smaller multis, and I also like syndication. Syndication is really cool, mostly because it's a team sport. That's the biggest difference, I think, where you can kind of specialize in one thing. Because my husband and I doing the 5 unit, here we are. We're making offers. We're going out meeting, we're walking the property. We're running the numbers. We're renovating it. We're managing it. We're doing everything. But it's really all us doing everything. Whereas with the larger multifamily, when you're syndicating, that's just a whole different game. You can kind of specialize and stay in your zone. I know there are some people who do kind of do it all. I'm not sure how they do that. But I would think that
very few, very, very few. I'm just going to tell you right now. I've met one person that had over 1,000 doors that did it themselves, and now they syndicate and they have a team. So it's very, very one person, and I've interviewed hundreds, as you know. So anyway.
Right. Well, and I would think it would be just a lonely game. That would just not be fun. Not only that,
it's not effective. It's also dangerous because nobody has all the skill sets. It's unnecessary. It's dangerous, and it's very, very unusual. So.
Yeah, I agree. And I would just say share the load, specialize, do what you're passionate about and what you're really good at, and then just get really good at that thing that you choose to do. And in my case, I started out looking for deals because I had been doing that with the smaller multis, and I thought, I'm good at that. I know how to analyze numbers. I like numbers. I built my own spreadsheet. My husband and I built our spreadsheet.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I guess music and numbers are kind of close. They're both fairly analytical, I would guess.
Same part of the brain, right?
Yeah. Interesting.
Music and math, the same part of the brain. But, and I thought maybe that's what I would do. So I started in that direction. But honestly, what changed was just that I started getting these opportunities from other great teams. Like, when you're part of the Warrior program, you're meeting these wonderful people that are just doing great things. Right.
Right.
And sometimes they're just adding value by helping you or having a call with you or answering your questions or whatever. But other times they'll say, would you like to be on our team? And you actually can partner up with them. So I was asked to be part of a team or two that were just like, I would have loved to be part of the team. But the way that I would have added value was to raise capital and bring capital to the deal. And at that time, I couldn't. I didn't have.
Why?
I hadn't reached out to my network.
Was it a mental block? It was just a mental block, or you just hadn't done it yet?
I hadn't done it yet.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, I hadn't even tried.
Because I'll smack you if it was the mental thing, because that's very common. But okay, good.
Yeah, and I'll also say, I actually kind of tried. I mean, I reached out to people. I'm texting people. I'm calling people. And I soon learned that is not the time to be reaching out to people when you already have a deal in front of you.
No,
you want to be doing that way.
You're building that relationship well in advance. And I hate the word try. Yoda said, you either do or you don't do, right? So anyway,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Those are some things that's okay. That's some stuff I've learned along the way is just build that foundation before you have a deal. And have just kind of educate so they know.
Yeah. People say, should I find the money first or find the deal? And guys, the answer is both. You do both at the same freaking time. You're building relationships. You're adding value to a group of people. And there are a number of ways you can do it. And I teach all this in the bootcamp, but you create your brand, like you've got Bright Sound Investments. So you've put, hung your shingle, and then you think about how you can add value to either your circle or you expand your circle by utilizing social media. I mean, I've got dozens of literally probably 2-3 dozen people in the Warrior program that have started podcasts. They've started big meetup groups, big affiliations of meetup groups, YouTube channels, LinkedIn. I mean, TikTok, big on Instagram, you name it. There's just so many places that you can create reach. And here's the thing. You focus on two things. You focus on adding value and you focus on being consistent. And you don't need 17 million downloads like we've got here, but you just need to, you get 100 people and you'll be able to raise the money you need, honestly, because they'll know people. And, I will tell you, before social media, I've interviewed people with 5, 6, 7,000 doors that started before social media, and they do their own meetup group. They might have 50, 60 people show up and they raise tens of millions of dollars. So again, but it's adding value and it's, and being consistent.
How did you go about starting those conversations, Hilary, with when you did go out and do that? What does that conversation look like?
So the very first thing I did actually was, I think I called up a couple of people. So that was the first thing. I called a couple of people that I thought would be interested. But the funny thing is you never know who will be interested until you put it out there, right? So
And it'll surprise you who has money and who doesn't. Don't ever make any assumptions. A woman that loaned me millions used to drive this crappy Subaru around and lived in a house that was so below her means it was ridiculous. So don't ever assume. Very important. So anyway, sorry.
No, that's a good one. So then I ended up sending out a letter to a whole bunch of people, Facebook Messenger, just letting them know what I'm doing and more or less saying, this is what I'm doing. I'm partnering with some wonderful people that have a good track record. And would you like to know about it when we find a deal? And I got some good feedback from that actually led to some, one-on-one across the kitchen table conversations. And I had my sample deal ready. They could ask me questions. So that was really, that's where you want them. I think you want that personal one-on-one conversation. I'm also doing the social media now. I'm doing more of that now.
Oh, are you? Good for you. Good for you. Okay,
yeah,
good.
Definitely. I'm trying to get better at that and just be really consistent. I got Instagram.
Those first few videos suck. Oh my God, if you see some of the stuff I used to do, I found this whole library of videos I did and I'm like, throw them away. There's no freaking way, because you want to reuse stuff. Oh my God, they were so bad. But so listen, let me say this to you guys. If you're considering possibly getting some guidance so, that you can experience the life you're wanting this year rather than later, or maybe you've thought you could be more effective with learning how to raise capital, for example, or, the things we're talking about here. Text CRUSH to 72345, okay, to see if the Warrior Program might be able to help you overcome any challenges or perceived challenges so that, that you can accomplish what you want and create that lifetime cash flow like Hilary's doing here. Anyway, so again, text CRUSH to 72345. That's how you apply. And you look us over, we look you over. And if it makes sense, then we're off to the races. So I've got a question. In this journey, you kind of alluded to them, but I'd just like to have you clearly define any epiphanies that you had, any aha moments in this journey of yours, and primarily in real estate. I mean, you could do personal epiphanies too, but primarily in real estate. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll speak to like the raising capital path that I've been on, and this was a huge aha moment for me. I had heard people say it, but I don't think I had really internalized it until I was talking to an investor and realized that I'm not selling something. I'm really offering an opportunity. That was the aha. Like I think I just years of whatever I was doing, whether I was promoting an album that I had produced, or I was teaching and had these little kids singing, or whatever it was. I think I always have this thing where I'm afraid to sell it. I feel like I'm showing off or
sure.
Whatever. And I always kind of like want to downplay. And I just more and more, I don't know if it's surviving cancer or whatever the heck it is, but it's like, don't hide what you're doing. And I'm doing a disservice to people by not telling them about this amazing opportunity.
Oh, I freaking love that. I will tell you something. I tell my team, I feel like we fail anybody that doesn't join our freaking Warrior Program. And I mean that because it's so incredibly successful. And I love that you just said that, because a lot of people have hangups around that. But I mean, you're offering people an opportunity to invest in a stable asset with fantastic returns they're not going to get anywhere else. And I'm going to tell you, pain is coming. If you got money in the stock market, listen up. I would get it out. I think the proverbial shit's about to hit the fan, and I don't say that lightly. I mean it. And so, be careful where you have your money. I think there's going to be some bank failures. If you've got over 250 grand in a smaller regional bank, I would be very careful with that right now. But the fact that you made that shift in your head, recognizing that you are offering a service and you don't have to sell it. I mean, if the deal makes sense, then you promote it, and because you're doing them a favor. Honestly, you're doing them a favor, and that's the attitude you take, not with an arrogant, dismissive way, but in a, hey, this is a hell of a deal. If you're in, you're in. If not, it's okay. It's all good, right?
Exactly. And along with that just goes, people need that, the whole idea that people need to know what I'm doing for them to even know that I have something to offer them. And that means I have to put myself out there, even, just the everyday. I'm networking with people today, or we're looking at a property, or we made an offer, we put in an LOI, whatever it is.
Just let them look over your shoulder. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the hang up that I kind of am getting over, that it's like, I'm not bragging to say that I'm looking at a property. I think that just been years of, you look at social media sometimes and you kind of roll your eyes when people share the sandwich they had for lunch. And you think,
oh, it's so funny because my team wants me to do that stupid crap right now. I'm just like, oh, this is what I'm not. Please, God, don't make me do that. But because people are interested, believe it or not. I don't know why they'd be interested in anything I have to do, but they're like, they want to see that stuff. But what's great about what you just said though is it's human nature to self-depreciate and to oh, there's that incredible Marianne Williamson quote about, oh gosh, I don't have it here in front of me, but I say it at my event, that not to dim your light, to shine, and because it allows other people to shine. And I love that. I love this conversation, Hilary, and I love that you came to that realization because you are a light, and I told you you were luminescent today, and you are a light, and you're changing lives when people invest with you, and you're helping, and so on and so forth. So don't dim that light.
I love that. Well, I want to bring this around to I wrote a song one time called "Light in the Darkness," and I'm a
there you go.
Singer-songwriter. And one time I don't know what song we were working on, but I was producing an album. I was having an album produced. I was in the studio, and I've had another person sing for me on this last album who's just like the most phenomenal singer. Her name's Bethany Cornell. So shout out to my friend Bethany, just because her voice was so good. But I had a couple songs where it's like I had to sing them myself. They were just personal, and it was like I needed to have my voice on it. And I just get it's like you listening to your old videos. You get so self-deprecating and so analytical of your own voice or your own, the sound of your voice talking or singing. I mean, try listening to yourself sing, like record yourself and listen to it and just try to get over it. So here we are in the studio and we're listening to my voice play back again and again and again. And we're tweaking little parts of the background. And I kept complaining about my voice. And I was saying, oh gosh, that part, I messed that up, or I meant to do that stronger, or I meant to do whatever. And my producer, his name is Matt Goss, so shout out to him too. He said the greatest thing. He said, Hilary, I want to tell you some of the best advice I ever got. Get over yourself.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Really, like, you care about it. To everyone else, it sounds good. So why are you caring that to you it doesn't sound good? Everyone else loves it. Let them love it. Let them enjoy it. And you're just going to have to live with it, get over it. So
I fall victim to that as well all the time. And I'm going through some relationship change right now. I'm single again. Tiffany and I are best friends, but it's some pain there. But, you look in the mirror, you're so damn old and, this stuff. And I self-depreciate. And Mark sent me the coolest text. He's like, don't forget your Rod fucking Khleif is what he said, because I was feeling down. I'm like, thanks, brother. I needed to hear that. I really did. But anyway.
I sent you that because I had somebody tell me that one time. And I just thought, wow, that's such like the smallest thing to say to somebody, but it just really changed my day.
Yeah. No, that it's a tough ride when you have something like this happen. And so, that was the perfect thing at the perfect time. So I appreciate you, brother. Of
course.
Anyway. Yeah.
So what's next for you, Hilary? What do you think is going to be, you've done the small multifamily, now you've done bigger multifamily, you got some things rolling forward. What is going to be your biggest challenge moving forward to that next deal, do you think?
Well, the biggest thing is always time, because the school year is coming and I am a teacher. So that really is the biggest thing. But interestingly enough, I'm still doing both. I'm still doing the smaller and the larger. Okay. So we looked at a deal recently. Some Warriors and I looked at a deal in my local market that had, it was like a 32 unit where 3 of the units were what do you call it? Travel nurse housing or corporate housing. And it was
midterm rentals. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, midterm. and it was like getting almost triple what the other units were getting. So I'm like, okay, I am totally doing that. I want to.
So's Tiffy, by the way. Tiffy is all over this. She's going to be doing midterm rentals. I should connect you two. She's been learning and everything else. Her and her sister. I'm like, babe, because she's in on all these apartments with me as well. And so I'm like, is she sure you want to, do that? And so I'll connect you two for that for sure.
Oh my gosh, too fun. And like the idea, and I feel like Tiffy would be like this too, but the idea of furnishing a place, like,
oh yeah, oh geez, the creative juices just exploded, right? Oh good God, yeah. Oh no, I got it. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. No, I actually, I will tell you that is a very viable business model because the short-term rental market's been dinged. At least right now, it's starting to get dinged. But midterm rentals, traveling nurses, and things like that, where you're renting for a few months, will always be there. And so, yeah, you should definitely ping Tiffy. She'd love to. She's in Europe for the next 12 days, but after that, she'd love to hear from you.
Oh my gosh, definitely. Yeah, we'll have to set up a call. So that's on the home front. But the other thing is I'm definitely expanding my investor base, which is very exciting. I have a couple things going as far as just kind of educating my people, and I mentioned.
Okay, so you're putting some stuff together to educate?
Yeah. So
awesome.
I have two things going. One is in the Warrior program where I started kind of a capital raise series where we interview along with Wakefield Lee, Ian Schmidt.
Awesome.
These are other warriors. Yeah, cool.
Wonderful people. And we interview a rock star every month and we interview, talk about their investor relations experience. They give tips and stuff like that.
Is this a YouTube thing or a podcast or what is this?
We haven't put it on YouTube yet. We've just done kind of like a webinar, like a call,
Okay,
meetup.
so webinars.
Zoom
Okay,
call.
but it's educational. You see, and guys, I tell my students to do this where even if you fake it till you make it in some cases where you bring in an expert, you interview them, and by virtue of the fact that you're interviewing them, you're perceived as an expert, even if you're, a little wet behind the ears, and that's how everybody does it. And it's a beautiful way to get out there, meet experts, and because they're always wanting a stage, and a virtual stage or a physical stage. And so, and you can do that on a podcast. You can do that like you're doing with webinars. You can do it on YouTube. You can, you just do those interviews, and fantastic. I'm thrilled that you guys are doing that. I want to ask you a question because, we have a lot of listeners that haven't taken action yet. Sometimes they're the super analytical ones that have to check off every box before they make a move. And I give them the analogy. You can drive all the way across the United States at night, headlight on, seeing 60 feet in front of you. You'll make it. You can't see the whole road, but other people have done it before you, like Hilary. But you got to make a move. But beyond that, what would you say? What words of wisdom would you share with the aspiring real estate investors that are listening? That know, and guys, opportunity is freaking upon us. I'm telling you, but know they need to make a move, but haven't yet.
Yeah, I feel like it's getting even more imminent every moment, getting closer and closer because the deals are already coming. It's happening. But certainly, if you're thinking about it, first I would get a little educated.
Get your butt to my boot camp. Hello. Right.
Listen to the podcast, go to Rod's Bootcamp, read Rod's book.
Oh, thank you for that shout out. Yeah, it's free. Go to rodslinks.com. It's my #1 bestseller in multiple categories. I've never heard even a critical word about it ever. And hundreds and probably actually thousands of reviews, but you just pay the shipping. It's like $6 or something. You get the book. Yeah, but thank you for that shout out. Please continue. Sorry.
Yeah, get the fundamentals of what is involved in this whole process of buying large multifamily, and then get a mentor. So I'll promote your show, of course. This is the best place to do it, where you can not only have this amazing community, but you can also have a coach in the program. So that to me was invaluable. I was working with Jennifer Barner, and now she and I are going to be, we're also putting on a webinar. We're interviewing someone from Advanta.
Fantastic.
And that there's nothing like being able to just pick up the phone and call someone when you're working toward your goal and you need to talk to someone who's done it before.
And she's in well over 1,000 doors, I know for sure. So all of that is, to have that people on speed dial that have done it and fought the battles and they know what to expect. Sorry, I interrupted. Sorry.
Yeah, no, just beyond that, just the community, and I've attended some of your events, but even just over Zoom. I mean, I have Zoomed with probably hundreds of people now. Every time there's a new warrior who says, hey, we're all welcome to the group. I like to reach out and just say welcome and how can I help you? And here are some tips and things like that. But so that's the community that that you've built and everyone helps everyone. And there's just a lot of places you can fit in this group.
Thank you. That's kind of you to say. And I'll tell you, I get goosebumps sometimes when I see the interactions on Facebook and all these, it seems like every couple of days the deal is closing and everybody's congratulating them, building them up, answering questions. It's just an incredible ecosystem that I'm incredibly proud of.
So I have one final question for you, Hilary. I know we've talked about education, raising money, all these different things. If you had to pick just one thing that maybe everybody should learn before they jump into multifamily, what do you think that would be?
That everyone should learn? I would say your own.
Just one thing?
Yeah, one thing.
Just one thing. I'm
going to force you to pick one thing.
You didn't say it's be about multifamily, right? So I would say learn what your goal is. Like, what's your why?
Great answer.
Get that right first, and then figure out how you.
Everything else, figure out the why first. The what and the how will come after that. So that's such a great answer, Hilary. I was struggling with that question. Actually, I was going to smack him because that's a tough question. But that's a perfect answer. Figure out your why, and then the how and the what'll happen. So I have one or two final questions. What's the best advice you've ever received, and it can be personal or business?
I'm going to go back to the get over yourself because honestly. Okay. I don't know if it has to be in those words, but
right.
That is an ongoing theme for
Don't
me.
Take yourself too seriously could be another take on that.
Yeah. And it's kind of like getting over yourself is kind of not caring so much what everyone else wants you to do or what they want you to look like or what they think you should be accomplishing with your life. Or doing with your degree or whatever. You have your own brain. You've got a good head on your shoulders. You have your own heart. Use it. You're enough the way that you are, and you can figure out your own goals and go for them yourself.
That's such a great answer. I used to ask myself, how can I show them I'm good enough? And now, every year I work on becoming more and more free from the opinion of others. And I'm in flip flops, and now I'm going to be probably in shorts in my events. And most other guys are in suits. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to be comfortable. If you don't like me, it's okay. I love you, but it's okay. But last question that I meant to ask earlier, but so it might not fit syntax wise, logistically here. But how did you get over your fear when, like when you first got going in this? Because, I will tell you, it's tough for somebody creative like you to sometimes to push through that. And so I was just curious what your answer is.
How do I get over my fear?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've had a lot of struggles in my life of health struggles.
Oh.
This is not my first time with cancer. It's actually a second type of cancer I've had.
Wow.
Died in childbirth of multiple organ failure. And I've had several hip surgeries as a teenager, gallbladder failure. I've had one thing after that. You wouldn't know it to look at me. But I do get knocked down and then I get back up again. And I think that each time that happens, I just have less and less care about what other people think and a little bit more focus and
my God, guys, I forgot to hit the record button. Son of a bitch.
No, you didn't.
You
No, you didn't. It's recording.
Are you sure? Oh God.
It says recording.
And I cut you off in the middle of your thing. Okay, because I see record here.
Don't worry, okay. I would not let you forget that. Oh
God, I was like mortified when I thought that. I'm so sorry, and I cut off your beautiful last statement. Oh God, I'm sorry I interrupted you because that was so beautiful too. Son of a bitch. Sorry, so sorry, Hillary.
Had to
Brian,
record
I don't.
a whole another podcast like that where we
Yeah.
got to the end. He goes, "Oh my gosh, I didn't hit record. It was the same thing, and we had to do it over." I was like,
Oh wow. You know what? Brian, just leave all this shit in because I want everybody to hear what I just did and heard what she just said because it was so freaking beautiful. And I got to tell you, Hillary, I had no idea, and I have even 1,000 times more admiration for you than I did before we got on this call. I'm so impressed. And guys, tell me your freaking excuses when you haven't taken action and done something, knowing this story. I want to hear your excuses. Okay, there are none. Okay, what a shining light and example of what's possible, Hillary. And I really am grateful for you coming on the show and. Brian, you can bleep out the F-bomb if I threw it in there. I'm sure I did a couple of times because I was so freaking pissed off. My first interview, I don't know if you heard this, was with a billionaire, and I absolutely forgot to hit the record button. So I've got a big scar and what do you call it? Oh God, there's a word for it, a
PTSD?
mental. Well, yeah, I have PTSD. That's a great way to say it. Yeah. But anyway, so, well, listen, it's great to see you and keep going and just, hopefully we'll see you in Orlando at the boot camp or at the Warrior event in November in Phoenix. But either way, look forward to seeing you soon and having you back on the show in a year or two when you're, well over 1,000 doors.
"Thanks so much. It's been an honor to be here."
Thanks, Hilary.
Thanks. All right. Record. See, it says permission needed from meeting host. So you must be the host. So you stop. So one other quick thing. We encounter so many people that are frankly frustrated. They're looking in the mirror and they're frustrated that they haven't been able to escape the rat race. They haven't been able to build cash flow to the point where they're able to have financial and time freedom with their families. And maybe they see other people buying real estate and creating, incredible cash flow. And they think, well, it's just scary. Buying apartments is intimidating. And I get it. See, that's why we created our Warrior Mentorship Program. They're our coaching students, and they've had extraordinary results. My students, I've been teaching about 5 years, and they own upwards of 140,000 units now that we know of, right? And we feel like it's just getting going. Now, we're looking to grow this group and really take it to the next level. And honestly believe that the greatest transfer of wealth could be upon us right now with this current economic environment. Everything's going on sale. So we're looking for people who want to follow a proven framework, really like a blueprint or a map, literally step by step. And then they're able to leverage our systems and our incredible network to raise money and equity, to find deals and close those deals and build partnerships, really nationwide. So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become more in our incredible network and take advantage of the unbelievable opportunities that are upon us, you can apply to my Warrior Mentorship Program by texting the word CRUSH to 72345, or you can go to mentorwithrod.com. And what we'll do is we'll set up a call so you can check us out and we can check you out and see if it's a fit. Now, again, you can go to mentorwithrod.com or text the word CRUSH to 72345 to apply, and we will speak soon.